In a world.
Mate, hold up. We said we're done with the serious intros.
Who said?
Well, we did.
I don't remember that.
Well, I said it, and you're me, so, you know.
Well, I don't care. In a world.
Hey, I told you. We're keeping it light.
You do it on your own then.
Well, technically, I already am. So, anyway. Fuck yeah. Pure wild flight. Get it down ya. How good? Visit nzaerosports.com.
I get to do the next one.
Well, obviously, you moron. We both do.
I was 19, broke, unemployed, and sold my girlfriend's canopy for drug money. So, I thought I better sew her a new one. What a sentence, and what a story. This describes the humble yet outrageous beginnings of NZ Aerosports, the home of Icarus canopies, in the words of our founder himself. From getting a paratrooper toy from his mom, watching parachutes at the DZ as a 6-year-old, jumping off the wharf with a parachute made from bed sheets, doing his first jump at 16, sewing his first canopy on a borrowed machine at 19, and starting to sell parachutes out of a garage in 1986, Paul Gyro Martin had an undying love for the sky. Our company started with one man with the wildest of spirits and a true blue sky dream, a renegade. In the time that Gyro created and ran the Icarus Canopies brand until he passed away in 2017, he pushed everything he had to its limits. We miss him, and we always will. Gyro is the next generation of NZ Aerosports. It honors our founder, of course, because it was the name we all knew him by, but Gyro the rebrand also marks the start of a new chapter, our next jump. Gyro is the space between sound and silence, art and science, chaos and calm. Gyro is a state of epic tranquility that transcends understanding. That moment, in the door, in free fall, mid-swoop, where nothing but the present exists. A perfect balance of euphoria and thrill. Gyro captures our passion for flying and our commitment to designing break-the-fucking-rules canopies that deliver pilots pure, wild flight.
Coming straight from the cockpit, it's another episode of Lunatic Fringe with the fucking pilot.
Ready, set, go! All right, back in the can again for another edition of Lunatic Fringe Into the Void. I am always the fucking pilot, and back in the can with me, I got Junior.
Hello, guys.
Yes, Junior's back as well because we're talking to somebody who he knows quite well, and I have a feeling it's going to be pretty fucking entertaining. So, without further ado, tell me, who the fuck are you and what do you do?
My name's Curt Bartholomew. What's up, guys?
Uh-oh.
I'm a professional competitive canopy pilot and canopy coach with Team Alter Ego Fast Tracks and the Alter Ego Project. And yeah, basically just travel around the world with my wife, Jeannie, and we compete full time and do canopy courses to kind of help pay for all of it.
Sounds like a pretty fucking good lifestyle, man.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. We get to see all over the whole world. We've been to over almost 35 countries together. So
how amazing is that? I mean, whoever would have thought that just jumping out of an airplane one time would lead to all of this?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Definitely wouldn't have thought of it.
Right. So now,
when I started.
Speaking of, how did you start? Well, I guess was skydiving your first extreme sport, or did you start out with something else and then kind of work your way into it?
Yeah, it was definitely my first extreme sport. I was raised on sports. Like when I was 6 years old, I came home and my dad was like, "Hey, I signed you up for football." And then I played football, and then came home and he's like, "Hey, I signed you up for basketball." And then springtime he came home and was like, "Hey, I signed you up for baseball." So I played a lot of sports growing up. So I was kind of raised on competing.
Nice.
But they were all standard sports like that, and I tried wrestling and, I ran track in high school and college, and I played American football for 12 years.
Oh, wow.
From kindergarten all the way up through my senior year of high school.
Wow. You know, it's kind of
So,
funny that looking back, especially even considering your skydiving career, football was dramatically more extreme. That shit's bad for you.
yeah.
Fucking, I mean, they're getting concussions all over the place, like almost on every game, and in skydiving it only happens every once in a while.
Yeah, I never really got like major concussions. I did get knocked out twice, but I didn't get any concussions to go with it somehow.
Wow.
Because I kept practicing and stuff. So
Yeah,
but
they also didn't know that much
was-
back then either.
yeah, no, I mean, yeah, they knew that, but I mean, kids were getting 2 days in August in Pennsylvania. Kids were getting like heat strokes and stuff too.
Yeah, man. I mean, fuck, they were dropping dead, just playing on the field, not enough water and too much heat.
Yeah,
And what doesn't kill you
yeah, it
makes
was
you
fun
stronger,
though,
right?
man. Huh?
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Exactly. But I loved it, man. Like sprinting and just sprinting as fast as you can straight into somebody and railing it was fun.
Right.
I enjoyed it.
Right.
It was challenging.
Do you think
So-
any of that's prepared you for some of the abuse you've taken over the years?
Yeah, I think maybe that's one of the main reasons I don't complain about it. Everyone else constantly whines about it in swooping. And I mean, I know you hear me whine about being injured and just talk about my injuries, but it's not a part of swooping that I like hate,
Sure.
It just comes with I understand it comes with the territory because of all the other sports I've played.
Yeah, no doubt.
So
No doubt. Now, speaking of, so how did you get started in skydiving? When was the first jump? What was your first drop zone? What was the experience like?
so you'll like this, Dean. I actually started I was a pilot first.
Oh, yeah?
I was going to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Daytona Beach.
All right.
I came down to Florida to do that. And in the summer between my sophomore and junior year, I went up to Pennsylvania just for a couple of weeks. I kind of liked Florida so much that I would just stay down here during the summer when everyone else would go home. But came up just for a couple of weeks to visit my family. And I went to get my tailwheel rating up in Pennsylvania because it's just 10 hours.
Sure.
So I started flying up there before I came down here anyway. So I called up my instructor, and he didn't do tailwheel, so he suggested somebody else. So we would grab a little Piper Cub and then fly from where it was based, just a quick 10 minutes over to a drop zone up in Pennsylvania. It was one of the ASC drop zones, Skydive Philadelphia.
Nice.
Yep. Yeah, Junior knows that one pretty well.
Absolutely. I actually saw your first save bottle sitting on the shelf of the rigger / manager of the drop zone.
Yeah, Aaron, he still has it. He
Yeah.
messaged me about it not too long ago.
That's fucking cool.
But so then I was doing my tailwheel rating there in between jump loads, and they would just radio up whenever they needed him during the week. So then we would land, he would go drop some jumpers, and then when he was done, we'd get back in the plane. So I hung out with skydivers for 2 weeks. And I was going out to the bars with them at the end of the day and getting some wings and beer and shit.
Sure.
So it was a lot of fun. I was kind of introduced to the whole community before I even got into it, and I was like, man, this is pretty cool.
Right. Well,
So, and then I asked all the dumbass WFO questions hanging out with them, and realized you can go straight to AFF. And I was like, well, I think I would enjoy this pretty good. I don't need to do a tandem.
sure.
And what really got me interested in doing a jump was I got to my instructor convinced me to go on an observer ride. But it was in a King Air, so that's why he wanted me to go, because those guys can have a lot of fun on the way down. 'Cause
Sure.
the planes can handle it. But they didn't have a right seat, so I remember super specifically they put a regular Javelin on me. It was gray with maroon trimming and piping and stuff.
Of course they did.
And they put me on the toilet seat right next to the door with just a regular shitty skydiving seatbelt. I could have easily just fallen out if I was a retard.
Oh, no.
But and then they're like, yeah, if you fall out of the plane, just count to 5 and pull this silver handle, and you'll figure it out from there. But it was cool because being right next to the door was way better than being up in the front, because I got to see the guys bomb out of the plane.
Sure.
So I thought that was so cool. I was watching them on the way down, not what the pilot was doing with the plane. So when we landed, he was like, oh, what'd you think? And I was like, dude, those guys are crazy. And I was like, I just kept talking about them jumping out, and then my instructor was like, "Well, yeah, but what about the plane ride down?" I was like, "Oh yeah, that was pretty cool."
You crushed the pilot's ego.
I totally did, man.
That's fucking
He was so upset.
good for you. That's awesome. Well, it's funny too that you, and it's very cool that you kind of did it backwards and that you got hooked on the community before you even made a jump. The jump was kind of an afterthought, which is neat. Because, skydivers are a bunch of crazy, infectious motherfuckers anyway. So I can imagine that spending an entire week with them while you're kind of on the sidelines watching, you'd have to get bit by the bug.
Yeah. And that was, kind of growing up and playing that many sports, I was always engrossed in that kind of aspect of everything. Like in college, my best friends, was the track team because we all spent so much time together. So we all ended up being super, super close, and like we would go out and party together instead of having a set of friends that we all went and partied with and then go hang out with our track friends doing that. Like we all spent like the entire 4 years together. So it was kind of very similar feel. So
sure.
That's one of the things that drew me in.
Yeah, I think that's all sports though. I think all sports kind of have that bit of camaraderie, especially when you're in high school or even college and university and stuff like that. I think.
Well, and especially as you push into something that's a little bit more rugged, so football for sure, but then you push into sports that have a little bit more, I suppose, risk to them, and you start to get that band of brothers mentality going on, because you just look over at the guy next to you who's jumping out of an airplane as well going, all right, well, he's got some fucking balls on him as well, and it's a very similar, kind of feel to it all.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very cool. So you go out and your your first ever ride along is on a toilet, which I love. That's fantastic. And you punked out the pilot, so definite style points on that. So the first jump you went straight to AFF?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
course was uneventful. You just kind of blasted through it. And did you know, like right away, fuck, I'm a skydiver now? Or was it, all right, that was cool, maybe I'll do it again?
No, man, I was obsessed with it. I tried to do my all 7 AFF jumps in one day because I just loved it so much. And that day it was even out of a Cessna.
Wow.
Which was cool. But it kind of like I was comfortable in the plane, but also just like sitting next to like I remember being the whole door was clear, and I just remember kind of sitting there. And like being able to see out of the door that easily, I was just like, it was kind of intense, you know?
Sure.
Like I would have almost preferred a bigger plane.
Now, before that first jump, what was the goal with Embry-Riddle? I mean, you were working on your tail wheel. Were you planning on being a stick and rudder guy for life?
Yeah. I wanted to be a corporate pilot. But I was getting my tail wheel because I was actually, Embry-Riddle has a pits, and I was training to do competitions in the pits.
Oh, nice.
So I wanted to get all the ratings to be able to fly one of those. I mean, we couldn't take off and land it even if we had the ratings just because of insurance.
Sure.
But this was like long term. I wanted to get everything I could to fly those more because, man, that was one of the coolest things. Like I was training for I never got to compete in it because the competitions near Daytona were always the same weekend as this big track meet in the winter at the University of Florida. So I never got to do it, but man, that was the best flying I've ever done. Like that makes me miss flying.
Oh, I bet.
In a pit.
I fucking bet. Well, I mean, it's the closest thing you can get to stick and rudder and rigid wings as what you're doing on a canopy now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as hardcore as it possibly gets. Now, did you?
Yeah,
I was going to say, did you know pretty much right away that the canopy portion was going to take over for you? Was it the free fall that grabbed you, or just the whole thing?
So in the beginning, it was the whole thing, and then like I like the canopy side pretty good. Like I said, I tried to do my whole AFF in one day. I got 5 jumps in, and I was just even running track in college, like, obviously just mentally, I was so smoked.
Sure.
So my instructor kind of saw I wasn't flying the same as the rest of the jump. So he was like, "Hey man, you're tired. Like we need to just stop and, come back tomorrow and finish."
Right.
And then I progressed pretty quick and I was doing really well. And, Then I got my own gear and stuff, and like my 20th jump was my first cutaway.
Nice.
It was my third pack job that I jumped, because it was the third jump on my gear. So it was just a shitty pack job, you know.
Sure.
So I got
it was a line
an
over.
important question about that. Who buys triple
What?
sec as a save bottle? Seriously, bro.
So that that was not my choice. So here's the whole story. So we go up, we're on a Cessna, and it was just me and the other staff guys. It was the head packer and one of the video guys that they wanted to go do a hop and pop. So we ended up getting out low, like from 3,300 feet. And it was funny because the videographer that kind of organized the jump came up, and he's like, "Hey, you guys want to go on a flop and chop?" And then we go up, we exit, and I have a line over, it's spinning. And like, all I can think about is I don't want to lose my new gear. So I try to fix it. So I smoke it down, and then end up cutting away. And then I'm at 1,000 feet with like 5 or 6 line twists with 20 jumps. Jesus. And then, you know, at 20 jumps, that's a double now. Oh my God, what am I going to do?
Right.
Anyways, I got out of it, landed fine because it was a hop and pop and I was right there at the drop zone. But and we found my stuff. But like that turned me off to the canopy side of things, you know, like it was like, holy crap, that was intense.
I would think.
And then the videographer also chopped. So 2 of the 3 of us cut away. So then we both owed Aaron bottles. So Aaron, the other guy bought a bottle of tequila, and Aaron told me to buy triple sec so we could make margaritas.
All right, that makes sense.
All right,
So
I'll
don't.
give it to you there. I'll give you that.
I asked him what he wanted, and that's what he said. And then it was really cool because then he invited us over to his house that night, and we all went over and we drank the bottles with him. And then he had me sign it.
Nice.
He actually was the one that taught me. I actually went and worked with Aaron for a while. We had the same boss. And when I was up there at his drop zone, jumping for a couple months one summer because they needed help, I saw like his bottles were signed, and I was like, that's a pretty cool idea. Here, I've been a rigger for 10 years and never thought about that. And then he also had a rule that only skydivers were allowed to drink from save bottles, which I thought was also pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like that. I'm not a rigger, but if I was, that'd be a good idea.
So you have to sign it.
Yeah, I like.
You put the date and what the malfunction was.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
And I liked how he invited us over and drank it with us, you know? That was super cool.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been invited to crack a bottle on a save for any of them. So, yeah, that's kind of cool, especially with that low time, too. That must have put a bit of a warm and fuzzy feeling for you going, all right, this is cool. I've stepped into a pretty interesting world.
Yep.
Now that
and then he let me watch the reserve repack because I was interested just how it all worked.
Always super interesting, especially at 20-something jumps, and that thing just saved your life. I mean, I remember just watching them pack the mains when I was going through my AFF. And, of course, the first time you watch somebody pack a main, you're like, wait, those are fucking rubber bands. What? Rubber bands should have no part in saving my life. What the fuck is that about? And so it becomes super interesting to, all right, now I need to know what's going on because, wow, you know. So when you were doing all this, you were at Embry-Riddle as well. Were you working as well, or you were a full-time student?
No, I was pretty much full-time student. I didn't even have like a much of a part-time job because the being on the track team got me like not a full scholarship, just a small scholarship. But it was kind of just enough to justify me not working because, you know, I was considered it kind of like making money. But it is a job. Like even in the summer it's college level track. You can't dick around. You gotta work your ass off.
Right.
So I would just get a job. Like I just worked for the school. Like I basically one summer I got to sit at the track to make sure that during the summer that only people that went to the school came and used it. So that was pretty neat.
Oh, cool.
And then I got an actual paycheck. So
never a bad thing.
Yeah.
So as I mean, a lot of us skydiving took over in one way or another, and a lot of people that I've talked to left, you know, either higher education or they left quite respectable jobs to, you know, go skydiving for a living. And then there's guys like me that just kind of transitioned from one weird life to another weird life. But for you, was it all right? Shit, I'm in this now. I'm a skydiver. I better find a way to you know make my way as a skydiver. Or were you still thinking, all right, I can do both. I can have the normal world and I can have this.
So originally the plan was to do both. So skydiving kind of ruined flying for me. Plus some shitty flight instructors. I had some great flight instructors, and I don't mean shitty as in they couldn't teach, but they, being a flight instructor as on the career path, you have to do it. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
So they knew the information, they could relay the information, but they were just kind of dicks about it. And they just, they had to do it, and they just didn't know how to teach like the correct way. So it kind of ruined it for me, like, especially like the instrument rating.
Right.
Like my instructor just was terrible at teaching, and like, he knew the information, he could relay it, but just the way that he did everything was just really terrible. And
especially when it's something like getting your instrument training done. If you don't have an instructor that you gel with, you're fucked, man. It's a lot of shit to try and retain. And if your instructor doesn't know how to put it in a way that's going to make sense to you, it's almost next to impossible.
Yeah, and I mean, he could relay it to the way it made sense, but he didn't really help me learn it. He would just get pissed and kind of bitch, So,
oh God. I learned, especially as I came up and then got a lot more flying in. Of course, I was one of the lucky ones that got to skip flight instructing because I went into flying jumpers right away. But most of the instructors that I dealt with had, a couple hundred hours. They were barely out of student status themselves, just trying to get by. And so, all they wanted to do is start their career, and they're just in this never-ending loop of student after student after student. I couldn't even imagine.
It's kind of like a skydiving coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. Kind of.
Yeah, it kind of turned me off to everything. I was literally like a week away from my instrument, and I just canceled all the tests and the practical, and I was just like, screw this, I'm done. Like, I don't care. And I mean, obviously now I kind of regret doing that. I should have just done the damn practical, so I just had it, but whatever.
I suppose I can't blame you though. I mean, you're talking about a shitload of money, and if it's something that you're not really passionate about, fucking hell, man, at least scrap it for a while,
Yeah. So I still have like 200 hours of flying, and there was some other stuff with my school. Like I just kind of kept getting hosed and with instructors, and they were just pumping me for hours, and they kept telling the school that I needed more practice. And like I was about as good at flying airplanes as I am at skydiving. Like I was good at it. Like I was really good at it. And my nice instructors would tell me, and then the other ones that didn't have enough students that needed the money would just make me repeat stuff.
Of course.
So I just kind of got burned out really fast.
Sure.
So I ended up kind of like not quite like change my major to like kind of flying off campus. My bachelor's is in aeronautics.
Okay.
And then I have airport management and air traffic control minors.
Oh, wow.
And a minor in air traffic control is just as good as a major to the FAA.
Wow.
And, if you have a degree in that, it's a big deal to them. So then I was going to go down the air traffic control route because I had a lot of friends doing that. And the people that it didn't completely stress out and felt like too much at work, like they loved it. And you make a shitload of money, and you have a lot of time off.
Sure.
So you don't always get to pick when the time off is, but you have a lot of time off, and they could travel and stuff. So I was like, well, maybe I can, I'll have a lot of time to jump, and I'll definitely have the money. But then I got the runaround with the FAA as well. So I ended up not doing that because when you apply for that, you apply for a state, not a position, like a place.
Oh, wow.
A facility. So I only gave them Florida because I wanted to stay in Florida for jumping. And then they offered me Jacksonville Center, which is closer to Georgia than Jacksonville. It's in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
And I was really kind of hoping to get Orlando.
I mean, you didn't want to go out and jump with Pack and Kathy on the border of Georgia?
Yeah. It probably wasn't too far from all that, but I just didn't want to live in the middle of nowhere,
Sure.
It wasn't even about where I would jump. It was just living in the middle of nowhere. So I turned it down, and when you turn a center down, you have to wait a year. Or when you turn a placement down, you have to wait a year. Then you reapply, and they can't give you the same place. Like they have to give you a different facility. So the following year, they offered me Jacksonville Center again.
Huh.
So I just went up through the chain till I got to somebody super high up in the FAA, because everyone's like, oh yeah, that's not allowed. I finally got up to somebody super high up and like, oh yeah, that's not allowed. Our bad. And I was like, cool. So like, can I reapply in like the next batch in like 2 or 3 months? And they were like, no, you got to wait a year. I'm like, well, but you guys broke the rules. So how come you just took a year off my career
Right.
because of a mistake? And they're like, yeah, there's nothing we can do. Sorry. And we hung up. I'm like,
fucking government
So-
agencies, man.
so at the same time, I had like started working as a videographer because I couldn't get a job anywhere else
Right.
because I had a bachelor's degree and they knew I would just piss off as soon as I got a real job.
Right.
So I was going to these group interviews at like PacSun at the mall with these like 14-year-old kids, and they would get the job and I wouldn't.
Oh no.
It was like soul crushing, dude.
It had to be.
And then so then I didn't want to work in skydiving. Like I didn't want to do that because everybody I was around was burnout, had no money, never fun jumped. And like, I was like, I don't want to do that, man. I want to have fun and I want to go charge. And, I kind of started I was really good at free flying in the beginning. Like that, I was like kind of naturally talented at, but I sucked balls at flying canopies. Like I was terrible.
That's about the time I met you.
Huh?
I said that was about the time that we met.
Yeah. I was super sketchy doing dumb, I was charging hard trying to learn how to swoop. I was just bad at it, right? So, and I was on like Crossfire 2s, which you have to roll out dirty low, and like I knew how to get the power band because the guys that were teaching me, I knew where the power was in swooping, but I had no idea what to do with it. So it was like I looked really sketchy. Like I was somewhat in control, but it just looked pretty crazy.
But dude, to this day, if it's anything other than the modern canopies that you guys are jumping now, where the swoops are starting about where I'm flying fucking jump run, it makes me nervous as hell.
Yeah.
If I see somebody on an old stiletto now, it freaks me out. I can't watch.
Yep.
I have to turn away. I'm like, no, that's fucking way too
low. Yep. Yeah. So like. But yeah, so I started working as a videographer, which is great because I could still mess around, and because I was like 146-7 pounds, so I was kind of light, so I could free fly with the tandems, and I learned to do it just by like taking docks and then flipping on my head and like carving and doing stuff, and then eventually I could carve on my head and do all this crazy free flying without camera wings, because I didn't like camera wings because they mess with my swoop afterwards. So I got to at least get paid to learn how to swoop. And then I was still waiting for the whole air traffic thing. And then, that just kind of got ridiculous and whatever. So
you were one of those camera flyers where the last part of the equation is shooting the actual video.
Well, okay. And that being said, like I was also really good at that. Because if obviously you've kind of seen the way I was raised and stuff. If I do anything, if I decide that's what I'm going to do, I fucking get good at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, growing up, I was taught, like, you don't half-ass shit.
Sure.
If you half-ass shit, go sit in the corner. Like, don't even do it.
You're right.
You know what I mean? Like, why would you bother doing something and not actually putting effort into it? Like, that's just a waste of time. So, I got really, like, I would free fly and stuff, but I would make sure I got really good shots. And, if I was trying something new, I would go do a spec where it was an unpaid video and I just got a free slot to try to sell it.
Now, looking back at how you were raised coming up through sports and all that, and with football and everything, and always trying to do stuff the best that you could, as this is all happening and you're making this big transition, now you're shooting videos and doing the swoop and stuff, what do mom and dad think of this?
They weren't super stoked. I mean, they liked the skydiving. Like I went home to them and I was just like, hey, I'm like, can you guys sit down? I want to talk to you about something. And I was like, hey, I wanna learn how to skydive. And they looked at each other and then they looked at me and they're like, yeah, okay. And I was like, wait, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, I was expecting this big argument, like, this thing. And they were like, no, we were kind of wondering what took so long.
Wow, nice.
They knew I was going to do it because of the flying and the aerobatics and stuff. And they were just kind of like, obviously they had prepared themselves.
Sure.
So they liked the fact that I was doing it. Like, they didn't think skydiving was like super dangerous or anything, but, they knew it was coming, but like, they did not want me to do it for a living,
Right.
I ended up I ended up spending like 30 grand of my student loans on skydiving as well. But it was basically just like what I would have been spending on flying.
Right.
I just went and took, so I would have had the same amount at the end anyways, probably more. But so I had $180,000 of student loan debt. Oof. And then they were like, yeah, no, you're not going to do skydiving for a living because you're not going to make any money. So how are you going to pay these back? Right. And I'm like, but, so they weren't super stoked about that. And the whole, there's no retirement plan and blah, blah, blah. Right. Like working for the government, you have good benefits and all that. So especially my dad was not super stoked on that, but kind of backtracking just a bit, like in college, I became the vice president of our skydiving club. So then the president came up to me the one year in my senior year, and he was like, hey, let's go to collegiate nationals and compete in free flying. And I was like, oh, that sounds fun. Nice. Yeah, let's go do that. So I went and I did it. And we had like no training together. We had like literally 5 jumps of training together.
Awesome.
And we went out and we did the 2-way free flying, and we ended up coming in second place. The guys in first place were a U.S. Air Force Academy team. They were a team for 4 years, oh, wow. Their whole college careers. They got, paid training. All their gear was free. They got tunnel time for free. Third place was another U.S. Air Force Academy team. They were a team for 2 years with the same benefits, and we beat them by a single point.
Oof, that hurts.
And it was crazy because I was sitting there watching the live timing or the live scoring, and literally, I think we got scored after them, and I flew up and took a hand to foot dock and a sit fly, and as soon as I grabbed it, the screen froze for that. For the times up on the last jump.
Right.
And I was like, holy fuck, did we just get second place? Like we didn't tie. We got second. And then it was cool because then I was like, holy shit, I didn't realize you could compete skydiving.
Right.
Like this is nuts, right? I was like, this is crazy. And then obviously I kind of started gravitating towards swooping because I didn't need a teammate and I could train on my own.
Sure.
Because I was jumping way more than everybody else. And I was way more experienced than the guy I was jumping with in free flying. I mean, he did an awesome job too, and he definitely saved our comp because I fucked up once and kind of corked out, and he saved us getting back together. But it's just hard to find people that are that into it.
Sure.
I was doing 600 or 60 jumps a month, so I was doing like 750 jumps a year.
Which is fucking cranking if you're not working in the sport. That's a shitload of jumps.
Yeah, dude. My first year, I did 737 jumps.
Fucking
just
hell.
like the airplane.
Is that about the time that you met DL? Because he was another guy that would charge hard. And that's when I remember meeting you DL, when you were hanging out with DL a lot.
Yeah, DL and Adrian Hart were the ones teaching me to free fly and to swoop.
Wow.
Like every weekend. So I was getting like really good. And I mean, we were just really good friends. So I wasn't getting charged for anything. I got really good free coaching for both.
That never sucks.
Really yeah. And like there weren't that many people who could really go and compete really strong in swooping and be on like head down world record and stuff.
Right.
And Adrian was kind of doing both a little bit.
So now what year are we talking, or around what years are we talking here?
So I started in 06.
Okay. Fucking hell, I feel old, man.
So wait, was that the first? If you started in 06, that was around the same time that I met you. Was that same year?
I think you met me in 07. Yeah, you met me the second year.
We met at the you were with DL up at the Skydive Atlanta.
Oh yeah, that was the first year. You're right. No. That had to be the second. That had to be 07.
Yeah, that's when.
No, because that was Halloween. Halloween.
That's when Party Boy came out.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the first year because I was on a Crossfire 139. That was the first year.
Yeah, you want to tell a Party Boy story or should I?
I guess you could tell it.
So here comes baby Curt as a skydiver. He's only been jumping for the first year or so, and he shows up to this boogie, and it's a Halloween party at Skydive Atlanta. Skydive Atlanta was known for its Halloween parties. He used to always bring out like a cool amusement park ride to do like either the Gravitron or the teacups or something like that. Everybody would get dressed up, and I got introduced to him through our buddy DL, and here we are, we're hanging out and everything else like this. And next thing I know, a boombox gets turned on and Party Boy comes out. If you remember Party Boy from the Jackass days. Curt rips off his tearaways and he starts dancing dancing to the music, and Party Boy was born.
Awesome. That's
yeah. I had the full getup, man. The tearaway pants, the thong underneath. It was awesome.
That's fantastic.
So very few people have known Curt about that long. So every once in a while, I'll just, what's up, Party Boy? How's it going, man?
Awesome.
Yeah.
And
you'll see a couple people that know me from back then every now and then just throw that on a post, and no one knows what the hell they're talking about.
That's fucking cool.
That's the nice thing about skydiving, though. It's like you don't see each other for a long period of time, especially with swooping. And that's the one thing that I think sets swooping aside a little bit from the other disciplines in skydiving is I think we're a little bit closer niche of a group. Like we don't see each other for a while. We show up and it's right away, hey, how's it going? What's going on? And you're right away back into the old, throwing shit at each other and just having fun,
Well, now, so if we're talking about 06 when all that was going on, I'm assuming that this is about the time you're like, all right, fuck, this is it. I'm gonna start going balls to the wall for this.
Well, I mean, I was going balls to the wall the whole time. I would get done class and at like 11 or noon for the day, and I'd blitz out to DeLand because it was 20 minutes, and I would jump until track practice. One time I even did too many jumps and I was pretty late, and I had to bullshit and tell my track coach I got in a car accident on the way over. It was just, don't worry, it was just a small fender bender. Not even any damage to the car.
Well, when did you win your first FLCPA? Was it 07 or 08?
It was 09 was my first year competing.
09, okay.
That's really fucking quick to go, not just from beginning skydiver to like standing on the podium. That's a pretty quick transition.
Yeah, and so I wanted to even do some comps my senior year of college too, but it was the same thing. Like I just kept running into track meets during the comps and stuff, So I graduated college, and there wasn't really any of the smaller meets that I could go to. It was just kind of the bigger meets. So I waited till the next FLCPA season. And I went to the first one I could go to because I was really excited for it, and kind of worked out because I was on like a Neos my senior year. So it was like, it's half cross brace, and like, it was kind of a weird canopy. It didn't fly the best, but the next year I was on my first velo. So it worked out.
That was
kind of.
No, go ahead.
It kind of sucked because my first comp was going to be my home drop zone in Clewiston where I was working. But I broke my hand training Zonac in the grass because I just landed on my butt and I was fully flared out, and I dislocated my pinky and my ring finger on my right hand.
Ooh. And
the knuckles were like the knuckles were like stacked on top of my middle finger knuckle.
Oh fuck.
And I freaked out, and I'm like, I can't handle my body parts being in weird places and weird angles. Like I can't do it.
Right.
Like it freaks me out, man. Like,
oh yeah.
This is coming from somebody that has this happen a few times.
Dude, shit needs to be where it belongs.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I'm not going to let it stay there. Right. So I grab it, and I'm like, I have a pretty solid understanding of how joints all work and stuff from all the injuries I've had in the past. And, I grab them and I put them back in, and then I'm like, oh crap, that worked. Sweet. So then I remembered, shit, we have two doctors here on the drop zone jumping. So I went over and showed them, and they were like, yeah, that's definitely, you broke your hand too. So I went and got x-rays, and they're like, oh sweet. Well, you actually set the bone perfect too without realizing it. So you don't even need a cast, just chill and, be careful with it.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, no.
So then a couple of months, a couple of weeks later, I had an opening, and I was using full RDSs for all my jumps at terminal. So I kind of had a shaky opening on my velo, and my hand hit my still came on my DSLR really hard and just broke it, like really bad.
Oof.
So then for the first comp that I was supposed to do at my home drop zone, I'm in a cast, And I walk up, it was funny, I walked up to Albert, and I was like, hey man, I really wanted to do this comp. It was supposed to be my first comp. It was at my home drop zone. I was really stoked, but I can't because of my cast. And like everyone saw me still jumping because my toggle fit over my cast.
Of course.
And I figured out I could pull with my pointer finger and my thumb. So I could, and I was still swooping. I was just doing harness turns and then putting my pointer finger and my middle finger up in my lines above my rear riser. So I could still use my rears because I seen pictures of JC Colclazier flying like that. So I was still swooping, but I'm like, I don't want to do the comp with a cast. That's kind of stupid.
All right.
And I'm like, Albert, don't worry. I'm going to be at the next one. And Albert's like, yeah, whatever. And just like walks off.
This,
like, I'm never going to see this idiot again.
This is Birchtold?
Yeah.
I fucking love him.
Yeah. He's just like, yeah, whatever. Everyone says that shit, dude. Like,
right.
especially staff at the drop zones we're at. Sure. I'm never going to see this dumbass kid again. So then I healed, cast came off, went to the next comp, did that comp, came home. I can't remember if it was after that one or the second comp I ever did. I broke my hand again. Oof. Because just, it was healed, but it was still weak.
Sure.
So the third comp I did, I got 10th my first comp, 5th my second comp. Third comp, I went and showed up, and it was at the farm,
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have been able to do this anywhere else, but because Hans is awesome, he let me do this. I show up with a cast on, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're not competing, are you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like, why else would I be here? They're like, "Well, you have a cast. Like, what are you gonna do?" I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna take it off." Like, what do you mean? What am I gonna do? Like, I'm competing. Like, I'm over this crap. So I take my cast off. I tried to make this like little mini one with this extra material the doctor gave me, but it didn't work. So I competed without it with a broken hand, and that was the competition I won. It was the first one I ever won.
Nice. Now the real question is, do you turn left or right?
I turned to my left.
Okay, so at least you weren't having to hang off the riser on your broken hand.
I still was.
Oh, fucking hell.
I back, especially on 270s, back then I was hammering both my risers down for the whole turn, and I still did it.
Oh, wow. And this was flying a velo.
Yeah.
Well, and back then there wasn't a badder fucking wing out there. Those things were amazing back then.
Yeah, for sure. And I wasn't even on comp velos for that season. It was just a standard, regular 90 velo.
Yeah, well, I mean, the comp velos hadn't even come out yet at that point.
Well,
and
the
only people
that
the only people that were probably jumping were probably the PD boys.
Well,
with their secret wings.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest, unless you're an accomplished swooper, a fucking velo is an amazing canopy. I'm never going to fly anything other than a velo. My 96 does me quite well, makes me look dramatically better than I am, and it's got a lot more room for forgiveness for me anyway. The canopies that you guys are flying, holy shit.
Yeah, as the Icarus guy, I'll keep quiet.
Junior knows I still use a comp velo for zone accuracy.
Nice.
Yep.
Well, they're fucking.
I'll throw my Peregrine in if I need it for the conditions, but otherwise I prefer the velo. I just won gold medal in Zonac and nationals with it again.
Nice, congratulations! By the way, I was following all that. That was very cool.
Thanks. That was a brutal comp for me, but I was pretty injured for that.
Yeah, I wasn't able to make it back. I heard the winds were quite interesting as well. Like starting like the day after a hurricane, and the first load went up, and it was sketchy, and people got hurt and everything.
What I thought all you crazy fuckers were doing downwinds in the hurricane.
No, he did. Yeah.
The winds were sketchy in the morning, and they were like 30 some knots, but the meet director waited till the proper time. He put us up because he just wanted one round on the first day just to make it easy over the weekend on everybody, so we weren't having to hammer out like 5-6 jump days.
Sure.
But no, he waited. It was like 18 knots. Where it mattered for the first load. The people who got hurt just fucked up. Like, it had nothing to do. A bunch of people were complaining about the conditions and all this weird dropout and stuff, but the conditions were fine. It's a US Nationals that selected a team for 2 years, and it was the first round. Like, everyone was really nervous.
Sure.
And they were messing up, and you know how it is. It's easy to just want to blame some other stuff.
Oh yeah, man. You always want to point the finger somewhere, just at least when it first hits, and then you can sit down for a little while and go, all right, maybe that was me.
Yeah. The first round I went up and I was on a 61 at a 3.5 wing loading, and I was pretty injured. I had stitches in my hands because I like to hurt myself apparently.
A lot.
And
You like to hurt
yeah.
yourself a lot.
I had a super bad injury. I ended up having to get an injection in my shoulder just to make it through the comp. So the first round, I'm in the plane. I'm just like, it's cool, man. Just take it easy. It's the first round. You know, you can't win the meet on the first round, but you can sure as hell lose it. Just chill.
Sure.
Just chill, dude.
You said you were on
to the bottom of my,
you were on a 65 at a 3.1, you said?
At a 61 at a 3.5.
3.5. Jesus Christ. I remember when flirting with a 2.0, you were crazy.
So I get
but
to
you're
the back
old.
end of my turn and I pause and I'm just like, oh man, I'm super tight. I snapped and I was crazy low and I was like, oh, I wasn't worried about hitting the ground, but I'm just like, oh man, this might slow down. And I got it to drive out and had a pretty good score. I think it was like the second fastest. Only Bo went faster on the Mutant. And I got home and I'm like, I want to see how low I rolled out. And I rolled out at 202 feet on a 61.
Jesus Christ. Fuck me.
That's a new best for me. The lowest I've ever rolled out before was 191 feet on a 71. But,
That's pretty goddamn
And a 71
low.
will recover a lot better than a 61.
oh yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
Now, what do you think, since you brought it up, what do you think of the Mutant coming into competition now?
I don't know. I mean, everyone seems, it's definitely fast. But everyone just seems to struggle to control it. A bunch of the guys started doing really well, but then they'll zero, even if they do well in one comp.
It's a fine line, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and it's just you get away with it for one comp, maybe two, and then the third comp you get zeros.
So now,
I haven't seen anybody even do 3 comps in a row and not zero.
do you think that if this gets dialed in, somebody just fucking gets its number and has it down? Do you think it's going to give them like an unfair advantage?
I mean, it's hard to call it unfair because we can all buy one.
Sure.
The only thing I think that should happen with this kind of stuff is, and it's never going to, but I don't think they should be allowed at FAI meets, unless everyone can buy them.
Yeah, I mean, kind of with something like that, it's almost when you're tossing in something that potentially has the potential to be so much better without necessarily changing the skill set of the canopy pilot other than learning how to fly that particular harness, that I guess unfair is maybe not the right word, but it definitely could give you an advantage.
Yes, it is an advantage.
Yeah, I mean,
and I think it's unfair if it's not available to the to buy. Like now that being said, you can't just go, buy a Mutant if you're not ready for it. You have to, and just like the Peregrine was and the Petra was in the very beginning, like you should be able to, it's not like they're just going to give one to any pro swooper.
Right.
That's fine with me, but it's like when it's just straight up not available, and it's like here the 4 or 5 of you can have this way different technology. Even with the sail wing, the Schumann sail wings, it was kind of the same thing.
Sure.
It was only like 1 year or a year and a half on the Petra with Nick having it, but it was 2012. It was only a very small group of people, and I was lucky enough to work my ass off to get into that group.
Sure.
But I was fighting, tooth and nail to get in that group.
And it was a huge difference between the two wings. Like you'd look at the competitions in that year, and you had the people that were on the all sail wings, on the Petras and the Peregrines, or I think at that point they weren't even the Peregrine yet. They were the XP or something like that, and it was a remarkable difference between that and the conventional wings that we're used to, the JVXs, the Comp Velos and that stuff.
Well, I mean, it's almost, at least in the way that I see it as an outsider from the swooping community, it's almost like a swooper's version of performance enhancing drug. Either everybody gets it or nobody gets it.
You can still beat them, and that's how I got the Peregrine, because in 2011 at the end of the year, the first meet, the Peregrines really actually were kind of released in. I won the meet on a standard velo, not even a comp velo, but for going fast, I actually prefer the regular velo if I'm trying to do full power, and I prefer the comp velo for like zone accuracy and freestyle. But anyways, that's a kind of different conversation.
Sure.
But so I beat the Peregrines and the Petra that were at the comp. Still didn't get it. I got offered a sponsorship over that and a role in testing the Peregrine, which was really cool.
Sure.
But then at nationals, like 5 months later, I did it again. I won nationals. So then it was like, okay, cool. You need to be a bigger part of this testing and development. And then it was like, I still had to fight for a Peregrine at the World Championships in 2012.
Wow.
They didn't want to give it to me. And I mean, PD wanted to give it to me. There was just, just like everything, there's politics. Like it's skydiving. We're all paying to go, but there's still politics.
Sure.
Which I understand. It's a part of the game, of course. I could have gotten rid of the politics and joined the factory team when they asked me, but I decided to do my own thing on my own team and see where I could take it. So I kind of, put myself in that position. I couldn't turn around and complain about it. I just worked my ass off to make sure I got it. So anyways, the consolation was you're going to get this Peregrine 2 weeks before the World Championships. So I only have 2 weeks to train. So I only had 60 jumps coming into it.
Jesus.
And I didn't even know. Luckily I bought a fly site. So I at least figured out how high to start the turn on. Cause it was, I went out and was doing weird stuff on it. Cause we didn't understand those wings back then.
Sure.
And it was like, we didn't realize when you load them that heavy, how much higher you need to start your turn.
Oh man.
So I figured that out, but in the whole comp, I was just like, I didn't know where to be. So I would just kind of get to where I thought I should be and not look at the gates until I rolled out. And then okay, where are the gates?
Oof.
What do I have to do to get through them?
Wow.
And luckily it worked. Somehow I made it work.
And on one of the fastest wings ever made, and you're going, all right, where's the gates? Fuck.
Yeah.
But the thing is that everybody was having those issues in the beginning with it. Like we watched some of the guys from the PD factory team who have been flying that wing and testing that wing a little bit longer than even Curt had it, and you'd see them, they'd come in and they'd dig on it, and there was nothing to dig on, and they would go crashing.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oh,
the rears were so heavy and they were so powerful that people had really long rear risers and they were slipping on the rears because you had to pull so hard and they weren't used to it. And they'd slip and hit the water.
Gee, well, and I'll tell you what, I mean, again, just from an observer and a fan of it all, the wipeouts, the fucking chows that went along with stilettos and then up to the game with velocity. Fucking hell, man. When you guys eat shit on these canopies, it is nothing shy of epic.
Life or death.
Yeah.
Life or death.
No, it really is.
I mean, you gotta learn how to crash. I mean, it's like skateboarding, like I have a very specific body position the entire time I fly because I'm literally ready to hit the water even on a good swoop because you just never know. I have a video from massive dropout at a drop zone near trees where I came in on a 3.5 second recovery arc and just hit the water because the last 15 feet I just sunk,
Sure.
And it was a comp round, so I didn't go to toggles because I was trying to save it. You just never know when you're going to hit. So, and I do a crashing seminar sometimes when I'm coaching, when I have time or during weather and stuff, because, you got to learn how to even just slide in your landings. You got to learn how to land from distance runs. Because if you do a distance run right, it looks like it hurts, but it doesn't.
Sure.
You can do 50 in 5 days and you won't feel anything because you're landing properly.
Right.
Yeah, I do the same thing, but all it takes is one bad one and you're hurting for a week, 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Well, see, and that's
exactly.
And again, it's funny to listen to this from somebody that's a mediocre swooper at best, because I've never had to think, "Fuck, how am I going to slide this landing out?" Because I'm never going that fast at the end of my swoop.
Yeah, but you don't even have to be going that fast. We'll teach, if we can. I'll even teach the sliding in part to people that aren't swooping that have 30 jumps, because if they ever screw up and land downwind,
sure.
People don't know how to do it and they'll stick their feet down. And especially in Florida with how sandy the soil is and soft and catchy, you snap your ankles. I've seen so many broken ankles that you just watch and you're just like, dude, that was such an unnecessary dumb injury.
Sure.
And now you're out for 3 months.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, wasn't it you, Micah, and Shane that decided in the 2009 U.S. Nationals in Spaceland that you guys were going to go downwind in winds that we had pretty much stopped jumping in?
Yeah, and was it me and Shane? We were doing 2 ways or something.
You and Shane, or you and Micah, but the three of you guys decided to go downwind in the pond, and the rest of us are sitting on the ground. And I'm sitting there with with like JC and Bobo and those guys, and we're just looking at you guys and we're just shaking our heads. We're like, look at these freaking kids, man. They're gonna kill themselves.
Well, dude, I would rip 30-mile-an-hour downwinders in Clewiston in the winter because it would always get windy there. But it's there's no turbulence because it's just sugarcane as far as you can see.
Yeah, it was definitely epic. We enjoyed the show for sure.
Oh, what were the old jokes when winds would get like that? Was the D license hold because the only people that wanted to get on the plane were the people with the A and B licenses?
Yeah,
it's like fuck you, I'm not getting on that plane.
We did like a normal run, like everybody else goes into the wind. And then these three retards, and I love all three of them, decide to rip one downwind, and I'm like, fuck, here we go.
Man, oh man, oh man.
That was the same crew that decided to start Alter Ego as well.
Nice.
That was the idea. It was me, Shane, Micah, and Warren Cleary.
Nice.
We tried to get on the expansion project for the factory team, around that year, the beginning of, when was that? The end of 2008, I think it was.
Yeah, 2008,
2009. And none of us made it. And so then we were like, the first year we were competing, we were like, well, if we can't be on their team, let's just start our own team, and especially Micah, he was the spark for it because that's how that guy was.
Oh yeah.
I mean, nothing was too daunting of a task for that guy.
No, hell no.
He's just like, well, why can't we do that? That's stupid to think we can't do it. So let's go do it.
Well, and that being said, we're talking about a guy who, as we speak, is in fucking outer space. So
yeah, exactly.
Anything that guy set his mind to was gonna goddamn happen.
No, but it was so awesome and empowering to have a friend like that, because when he would say that, you would be like, you know what, you're right. Why am I thinking like that?
Yep.
Like, why am I thinking the opposite? Like, that's a stupid way to think.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No.
And it is.
I completely
it's like,
agree.
even if you completely fail, like, at least go try.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was my introduction to Micah Couch, was watching that.
That's awesome.
And I walked up to him, I was like, man, that was really fucking stupid, but nice job.
Yeah. Hey,
dude,
come on.
He got me a job in DeLand in like 2009, and I moved up there because I had started the team in South Florida, and Micah wasn't on it in the first couple of months, just with the separation, it was hard to get him to actually like do anything, just to commit to it, and I mean there wasn't really much he could do. And so anyways, he got me a job, so I moved up there. And so then I almost got fired within the first 2 weeks because of all the dumb crap me and him started doing. It was like, we were just doing retarded 2-ways, ripping through the hangars. And then like we would do opposing 2-ways and land in the P's and stand it up right next to each other. And like the manager just lost his shit.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Like I would typically be the one to go downwind, but then I would still stomp it out and stand it up in the pea gravel. And then I would get in trouble because I was going downwind. And Micah did a right turn and I did a left. So we started doing these other 2-ways where our base legs were flying at each other.
Oh,
and we'd flare still in front of each other, cross over on fronts. And he would do a right turn and I would do a left turn. So we'd come back at each other. And it was my job not to hit him. And they were the sickest 2-ways ever, though, still to this day. And like,
I mean, as long as you guys were safe, it was
so
one
cool.
person's job to, avoid the other one.
I like that. All right.
Yeah.
You're supposed to not kill us.
It was so crazy, though, because, like, I mean, you just think, like, even now I'd be, like, almost, like, slightly hesitant to do it. And we had such low experience to even try that stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean,
but it was just like, dude. And he was just like, yo, let's go do this. Like, why can't we do that? It's just like, I mean, like, duh, it's easy. Let's go do it.
Well, there's something.
And then it was.
There's really something to be said. Yeah, there's something to be said for not knowing you can't do that.
Yeah.
I didn't know I couldn't do that, so I fucking did it. you know?
And just to have the confidence and then just sit down and like, of course, like, I didn't just go send it. Like, I would sit down and like I knew the bail points. When it got to a certain point, you just bail, which of course we did. Like,
sure,
don't get me wrong, it didn't work. It might have worked on the first one, but of course that was probably pure luck. We had them dialed in after a while, but you had to bail. We almost killed each other a couple times, but it wasn't almost killed each other because we didn't get that close.
Right.
Like, I aborted when I needed to and that kind of stuff. But they were some of the coolest swoops I've still ever done. And like, I'd come in like just going straight at him and just carve away, and we could get a couple feet away from each other, like body wise. And like it was crazy stuff. I have a freaking scar on my wedding ring finger because we were doing 2-ways just like that. and he would do blind man switchblades and geek me. And then, he's going to toggles right away, so I would catch up to him. So on one of them, he was geeking me, stayed perfectly straight the whole time. And then when he turned back around, dipped a hip and carved right in front of me. And since he goes straight to toggles, obviously I was going to go a lot farther than him. And I just saw him like just bend over, and just brace for impact because he knew I was coming.
Fuck.
And I had just enough toggles to rail my toggles and pop up over him because it was just all so quick.
Right.
And I turned sideways, managed to get most of like my whole body right through the center of his line set, like just right directly over top of his head because the canopy was still inflated. And one of his 300s caught my ring finger, and I felt it just slice.
Oh, yeah.
And I landed on like almost even stood it up right on the other side of him, went down on one knee and looked at him, and I was like, did that seriously just happen?
It was funny because
we
I
were
was
both like, holy shit!
I was
can't
gonna
believe we just did that.
I was gonna ask you, to tell me about one of your sketchiest ever swoops, but I think you just fucking did.
Yeah,
and I think everybody has that one friend too. Everybody has that one person that you're just, as you're coming up through, you just push with, and like the other person's pushing, you're pushing harder, and they're pushing harder.
Well, to hear that story, especially the fact that you've got a scar from the line on your finger, I watched a guy, a guy named Steve that I worked with in Las Vegas for quite a long time that was swooping, I think, a stiletto 120, which, of course, back in the day was still one hell of a canopy. And we had a pilot that was off helping catch and was just out on the landing area messing around and bobbed when he should have weaved and caught an A-line from his neck wrapped around him and scalped him. Oh, yeah. So I'm watching from the air as I'm coming in on my stiletto. I watch the canopy collapse in a weird way. I watch something flying, and then I watch a whole bunch of dust. So I land, and I run over to where it's all going on, and the pilot, who is the one that got caught, is laying on the ground on his back, moving, but not very much. And as I get close to him, his scalp from the back to the front is flopped over his face.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. I have to grab the hair. I lift it up to look him in the eyes, and I'm like, you're alive, right? And he's like, yeah, I'm all cool. Don't move. And laid the scalp back down. So the fact that it was just your finger, fucking hell.
Yeah.
It had to be somewhere around 2003 to 2004. And I was up in Tecumseh, Michigan. And the now owner of Skydiving Tecumseh, Franz Gershweiler, was borrowing a buddy of ours' canopy. And this was my first introduction to what a line could do. Oof. So he's coming in, he does a 270, he goes to stab out on toggles. One toggle catches at the ring, the other one goes all the way down. So he basically does a 90-degree turn into the back of a Cessna 182. The lines cut into the trailing edge of the flap.
Yeah.
About 8 inches, and there was 3 lines that had cut in. He took the airplane, moved it off the blocks, but he literally, like, I watched the lines, and I'm looking at it, and there's these jagged lines in the back of this flap, and the lines didn't break. And that was my introduction. I was like, holy shit, these lines can really fuck you up if you're not careful.
Shit ain't no fucking joke. And you went through Micah's lines.
Yeah. Dude, man. They cut super deep into my finger, man. It freaked me out. It didn't hurt much. I just felt it burn,
Sure.
It was crazy. Luckily, because its line burned, it cauterized it and it wasn't bleeding, but it was gnarly.
Well,
and the funny thing was, after this kind of the scar formed, Michael was looking at it. He's like, I have the exact same scar in the exact same spot on my hand. Because he flipped the Jeep and like degloved his whole hand and even cut some of the fingertips off of that hand.
Cut one of his fingers.
Wow.
It was like
middle finger.
The same finger, like identical. It was really weird.
That's got to be like your favorite scar. That has to be.
Yeah, dude. For real.
I mean, everybody's got their scars that they kind of dig, but that one, I mean, especially attached to that story and that guy, that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, definitely.
So he was part of Alter Ego basically from the beginning. What year? I mean, Alter Ego's been around for quite some time now.
Yeah, 2009 now. So literally, like right now is our 10-year anniversary. We're getting ready to start posting about it and celebrate it because it's like exactly right now.
Man, time fucking flies.
And you guys have had you guys have had some come, some go. You guys have had a bunch of different members over the years, huh?
Yeah. Not a whole lot of in and out, but yeah, we've had some bounce in and out and stuff like that.
But so, you're the tried and true. You're the OG in that team. You're the only one that's still kind of around from the very beginning, huh?
Yeah, so in the very beginning, it was me and my buddy named Jake Carlo. He was a base jumper and a wingsuiter back then. He was like one of the few wingsuit and like kind of instructors around. And he got out of the sport for a long time at one point. But we were trying to. I was base jumping back then too, so we were trying to make it like a multi-discipline thing.
Sure.
But yeah, then when I moved up here, it was literally like we started it like this time of the year at 09. And then I moved up in the beginning of 2010, I guess it was.
Nice.
To DeLand. And that's when Jeannie and Micah got on the team right away. So it was me, Jeannie, Micah, and Jake.
Now, when did the or I should say, how did the alter ego come about? Why that name?
So it's kind of I guess a little bit funny. It's random. So we were trying to think of a cool name. Originally, like we had this idea that we were going to call the team Vertical Horizon, which was kind of lame. But because you're swooping, you dive at the ground, blah blah blah. But I was like, I want a better name. That's kind of stupid. So we were trying to think, and then me and Jake were talking to the Hard Rock hotels and stuff down there. They were going to sponsor us, buy us canopies. We had these cool stunts that we were planning on doing, like jumping off their hotels in Miami and me swooping the shit out of the buildings and stuff and whatever. But as that was kind of going, this energy drink company based out of, I think, Miami as well, is called Ego Energy. And they were like, yeah, we want to sponsor you guys and give you money and stuff. We're like, sweet. They're like, we just, you guys need a good name or a better name. I don't know if they knew the name we were kind of going by. I can't remember, but they're like, we just, the whole board and the CEO loves it. Just come up with a cool name. And we're like, awesome. So I'm like, we spent like a couple weeks and couldn't think of anything cool. And we're trying to incorporate Ego Energy into the name. But that's not a very good word, right? That's a pretty negative word if it's a team name. So I'm like, I don't want people to look at it, in a bad way.
Right.
So then eventually I came up with alter ego, and I'm like, oh, that's perfect. Cause most skydivers, their alter ego is their skydiving life on the weekend.
Sure.
It's like night and day.
Or
and
their
that'll
junk
work
name.
great for coaching. Cause back then I was free fly coaching, cause that's what I was good at. I hadn't really done much in swooping, obviously. So I was like, then we can call it the Alter Ego Project. You come get coaching and we help make your alter ego better, right?
Nice.
Your other life better. So I was like, man, that's really catchy. I like that. And I was still concerned people would be shitty about it and be like, oh yeah, ooh, the ego. But luckily that never really happened.
Right.
So,
well,
and then the best part is, so then we go back and we're like, we're so stoked. We're like, we tell the company like, oh yeah, we're gonna call ourselves Alter Ego. And then just crickets, like nothing. They just decided not only to not sponsor us, but just kind of stop responding. Like they responded once after that, and the guy was like, "Oh, I'm trying to get an answer from the board. Give me a couple of days," and then just never again.
Of course.
But at least we got a really cool name, because I still love that name. Like I'm so stoked about that name. And,
sure.
So at least they did that for us.
Well, now, so the team originally got formed. You were looking at multidiscipline, and of course, it's now become one of the premier swoop teams. But you also now do a shitload of coaching and instruction and all kinds of stuff, don't you?
Yeah, just between me and Jeannie, we have over 700 students a year.
That's quite that's quite an enrollment list right there. That's awesome.
Yeah. So we have, and then we have a small group of instructors that we're really close with that coach for us.
So now somebody's looking for coaching, and they're going to turn to Alter Ego. I'm assuming that you're literally basically out of student status all the way up to I want to compete.
Yeah, exactly. We have like four basic courses that have nothing to do with swooping. Plus then after that, air-to-air coaching that has nothing to do with swooping. And then all the way up to, hardcore competitive coaching. We coach XRW, team swoops, flocking,
sure.
Basically freestyle, anything with a parachute, we coach it. We have courses for. I used to run a lot of camera courses as well for different stuff I obviously was a tandem videographer.
Sure.
I even did a bunch of 4-way video just out of college as well. My second comp ever was a 4-way belly comp as the video guy, which we won. So
awesome. Well, and being able to pass on that knowledge is a big thing too, but especially if you are, gauged towards keeping people safe and then giving them the correct way to work their way up.
And one of the things that I saw...
Yeah, and
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, one of the things that I saw that you guys were doing was, as a tandem examiner, I saw you guys doing some tandem stuff, and that's something that I've been doing a little bit along the way as well, because a lot of tandem instructors come up through and they start becoming tandem instructors at 500 jumps. And they don't really know a whole lot about how to fly a tandem wing and how to properly fly it. It's completely different flying a tandem than it is anything else. And I saw you guys had started offering that, and my hats came off to you guys, because that was something that I've done here. Wherever I go, I do a little bit of coaching, especially for flying a tandem canopy and stuff like that. When I saw you guys launch your tandem course, it was kind of one of those like attaboys, like, yeah, finally somebody else doing something with working with tandem stuff as well.
Which is super awesome, because really the tandem canopies, at least in my opinion, and I'm a meat hauler, if you ask me my favorite way to jump, it's most likely going to be taking tandems. And the tandem canopies, especially the ones that are out nowadays, are such versatile canopies, but you got to know your shit. They can fuck you up, because these are, in most modern tandem canopies now, are what we would have considered a high performance canopy when I was starting jumping. They're stilettos for tandems. Yeah. If not more. Exactly. And that's a big deal, because, man, you've got to know how to land a tandem in anything from a nasty downwind to high winds, turbulent conditions. So the fact that you guys are giving courses on those canopies is awesome. Yeah.
Me and Jeannie have only run a handful of those. I almost tried not to, just because I'm not a tandem instructor. But it's still flying a canopy. They are different. We obviously know the differences.
Sure.
We have instructors who are even tandem examiners as well. And obviously we sat down with them and wrote the course with them to make sure everything was exactly the way it needed to be.
Sure.
But to be honest, especially like Junior said, a lot of the newer instructors who struggle, it's even stuff as little as simple as they always end up putting themselves in a flight cycle on landing, and they don't realize it, even though they know that under their sport wing, they'll just make that mistake. And again, it's like they always, everyone's mind, they don't mean to, I'm not saying they mean to do it, but everyone's mind always just goes to, well, what made that happen? Oh, I bet it was turbulence. I bet it was this. I bet it was that. And it was like, no, dude, it was your input.
Sure.
And real quick, for the people out there that aren't skydivers, just explain really quick what a flight cycle is.
So a flight cycle, basically, anytime you put an input into a canopy, it's going to just change how the parachute's flying. It's going to change the pitch. It's going to change the speed, which the pitch is just kind of what direction the nose is pointed. So the canopy just kind of goes through this little like yo-yo accordion effect to get back to normal full flight. Like the best way to think about it is being in like deep brakes and letting go of the brakes. The canopy is going to pitch down after being super flat, and it's going to be going really slow. Then it's going to pick up a lot of speed, and then it's even going to level off because it picked up some more speed, and then it kind of goes back to normal. So you don't want to land in any of that, because you don't have any. You take away your brakes for landing. You take all your flare away.
So for either newer jumpers or people that don't jump, a flight cycle is basically from normal full flight back to normal full flight after it recovers from whatever input you've put in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the bigger the input, the longer the flight cycle takes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that was, I started doing tandems after I'd had a fair amount of experience in the canopy. So I was lucky in that I at least had a decent idea of what was going on under canopy. But there was more than once that, because of my own inputs, when I flared, the only thing that changed was my expression. Not a nice fucking feeling, when you stab the flare and nothing happens. It's horrifying.
And I actually have a couple good videos of stuff exactly like that I use in all my tandem courses to show to the candidates what can happen and what a flight cycle is and how they can do the small slow input and how it can affect and change our flight cycle. So it's good. It's good. It's good that you guys
we have the same thing. We have the same thing. We have videos, and we have them on rears, and people, doing full somersaults on landing just because of flight cycles and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, shit. I learned, unfortunately, what a flight cycle was in a negative way very, very low in the sport, because I think I had maybe I want to say less than 30 jumps at the time. And I was jumping. I learned in Las Vegas, and we drive down to Paris Valley was the only big drop zone, turbine drop zone. And we drove all the way down there with the instructors that had taught myself and a couple other people how to jump. And I was getting ready to go rent a rig. And one of the instructors says, hey, don't worry. I got a rig that'll fit you. It's got a real docile canopy. Well, I got 25 or so jumps at the time. So, all right, cool. He's an instructor. He says docile. Well, it turned out to be a Turbo Z165. Right? So it's one of these fucking half and half bullshit canopies. And so the rig fit nice and pretty and everything. And I'm too stupid to know any better. So I go out and jump and I pitch this thing. And of course, as soon as I'm under an open canopy, I'm going faster with brake stowed than I've ever fucking gone. I released the brakes and shit my pants. You know, I mean, that's exactly how you knew where I was. And as I come in base to final, I did exactly what you would expect somebody with sub 30 jumps to do. I stabbed the fucking toggles in a panic flare way too high. And then, of course, what did I do? I let up.
Right back up.
I let up and
right back down.
Exactly. And I drilled myself into the ground. And standing there on a fucking broken leg, I went, oh, so don't do that? Cool. You know, he learned real quick.
Roger that.
Yeah, man. Fuck, don't do that again. All right, fair enough. Now, to attest to just how stupid I was still on the load 2 loads later on a fucking broken leg. But I nailed the landing. And then I took 2 months off. So you've got Alter Ego as the team. You've got Alter Ego as the instruction. So you guys stay really busy, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Probably a little too much.
Well, in international travel, international competition, you're talking regular competitions, you're talking the freestyle stuff, everything, right?
Yeah, and now me and Jeannie actually own and run the FLCPA. This is the first year we took over from Albert.
Nice.
So we have that to add to the list as well.
So now
that's some big shoes to fill.
Fucking Albert's Albert's the man.
Yeah, exactly. Well, luckily because he's the man, and, you know, it's his baby. He ran it for 11 years, I think he said.
He took it from Chris Hayes
He took over from Chris Hayes years and years ago, back when it was the actual CPC. And so obviously he didn't want his baby to fail. So he trained the living crap out of me.
Nice.
So it was a fairly smooth transition. Obviously we made some mistakes this year, but they were all, you know, just small and just goofy, you know?
Sure. Now, speaking in strictly in competition, because there's so many different disciplines now to swooping, and again, for lower time jumpers that think a swoop is a swoop, there's so many different facets to it. What's your personal favorite? What do you like the best?
That's a hard one, man. I get asked that all the time. I think it's kind of like, I don't know. I love it all, dude.
Don't lie.
Like, it's hard. Like, it's hard because it's like obviously, like that's usually my answer is it's split between Zonac and freestyle, but like that's for competition. It's normally the question's based around competition. My actual absolute favorite is doing 2As and doing team landings, but being the follower.
Yep, I'm right there with you.
Because
on that
it's,
one. I said I'm right there with you on that one. I love following.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, it's got to be a ridiculous challenge. Again, from somebody that's never done it, not just swooping at that level, but having to do so while chasing someone else that's at your level has got to be a ridiculous challenge.
Dude, it's crazy, especially with these new wings with how efficient they are. Like, you know, on Velos, it was easier because even with slightly different sizes and wing loadings, like they all kind of perform similar. Now it's like there's like this tiniest little difference, you know, where like I ate too much lunch and Jeannie didn't eat enough. Then we're like, it throws us off and I got to work a lot harder.
Sure.
And it's just, it's crazy. And it's,
and as a married man, it's smart that you said it that way and not the other way around. I'm just going to say that.
Yep.
So now,
I'm not stupid. I learned my lesson.
Now that being said, how is it, how do you find it competing, working, living, the whole thing as a married couple? That's got to be a challenge as well, no?
I mean, yeah, but not really. I mean, luckily, like even from the beginning, like because Jeannie and I are both so passionate about swooping, like we can spend a lot of time around each other, you know? And like, if we're on a, you know, even in the first couple of years, like when we were on a road trip in the car, like all we would do was talk about swooping for hours in the car on the way to where we were going, you know? So like we can spend a lot of time, and like obviously that's not all we talk about.
Sure.
But
So you're codependent obsessive about swooping, which is good.
yeah. So I mean, yeah, of course it gets challenging. You know, just it was hard to find a balance on how to coach her. In the beginning when we were just dating, I had to be a lot nicer, and that equated to her not listening.
Sure.
And she had some really bad injuries, like even a life flight into like 4 days in the hospital, like really bad. And she had a bunch. That was kind of the culmination because she kept kind of having the same issues and would not listen.
Sure.
She listened. She was like that bad student you get where this is how you go fast, but this is how you control it and be safe. And they go, yeah, that's cool. How do you go fast again?
Right.
Can you explain that again? I like, and just the downsizing too quickly.
Sure. Well, it's funny.
Now,
I was going to say we've had this exact conversation with Junior and Patrick K, who refuses. He's like, fuck no, I'm not teaching my wife shit.
Curt is very accustomed to hanging out with Pat.
Yep.
I could tell you a good story about that as well.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny because obviously you guys have had to take different roads. Being on a team with your wife and then Pat going no, fucking yeah, all the fun jumpers that way, go.
Yeah, so I mean that's where, I mean that's the only part that we kind of argue about really is the coaching side of trying to coach her, because I had to coach her, right? Like I can't not.
Sure.
When Nick was on the team, like he would coach her a lot because he didn't have to do much because she'd already heard everything from me. So all he would have to do is kind of step in and say the same thing in a very short version, and then she would be able to go do it because she had all the background knowledge. Sure. She just was stubborn and just so you know, Jeannie's a natural redhead, and we all know redheads are the most stubborn people you've ever fucking met in your life.
Well, and I mean, in her defense or in anybody's defense that has been coached by a significant other, it's really tough to take instruction from somebody that's seen your O-face.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
It's really tough to wait a second. I've seen you there. I fucking know you, and now you're telling me what to do.
Well, yeah, and the other problem too, even on the coach side, for myself, I can say is, when it's someone like that, we all know the filter kind of drops to a very, very, small amount.
Sure.
So you kind of say stuff that you sure as hell wouldn't say to a regular student.
Absolutely.
And then that makes everything way worse.
Of course.
And that's probably the best way I've ever heard it say is you're so comfortable with that person that you can say things to them that you wouldn't normally say to another student. I've never actually heard somebody put it like that, but that's exactly hitting the nail on the head.
That's the main problem is either you're super nice and you act like they're a regular student, then they don't listen because of that. Sure. Then you learn to drop the filter, and but it's a balance. You got to drop. You got to make sure there's a filter there. Right. Just,
well, because if you drop the filter completely, I suppose the easiest way to look at it is if you were on the outside listening to a conversation and all you're thinking is, fuck, that guy's a dick. Then, yes. And that's exactly how it would seem from the outside. But of course, to a couple, it's not that way. It's just you trying to get your point across.
Yeah, and we do run into that issue because we're always around each other. We literally are around each other 24 hours a day, 7 days.
Sure.
Like we never take separate trips ever. We're lucky in that way. But so we're always at drop zones. So like if she needs to hear something, I'll say it to her when we're training because she needs to hear it to get better and accomplish her goals. And I want to see her accomplish her goals probably more than she wants to accomplish them herself, sure. Right? So I'll be a dick and say what I need to because then she's going to learn it. And then at the drop zones, we kind of run into that where people are like, man, he's an asshole.
Well, I'll tell you.
It's like, yeah, I tried for years to not be.
I'll tell you
what, we found that if I'm a dick, she listens.
Yeah, well, and especially having overcome the injuries that she's had and to continue not just to skydive, but to compete at the level that she's at is really impressive, and part of that has to be that, I mean, it's a tacky phrase, but it works, the tough love scenario to really,
it is,
to punch it home. And it's not any detriment to her. It's you're taking the skill that you've already earned and, imparting it to her in a maybe harsher than normal way because it sinks in.
And the one thing,
exactly.
The one thing about swooping side of it is it's mostly a male-dominated sport.
Oh, yeah.
There's been very few females that have come up through and really succeeded and really shown the determination to push through. I mean, there's a very few handful. I'm talking about, I think originally it was Kashiki, Jessica Edgington.
You got Kashiki, yeah.
Yep, Cornelia and Jeannie are some of the few, and now we're starting to see more and more female swoopers out there that are really starting to push and drive hard for it. You've got Olga that's out in Dubai, and some other people that are really starting to push hard, and it's nice to see.
It's fucking cool because there's literally no reason that a woman couldn't be a gold medalist swooper and kick every guy's ass out there. Hence Cornelia. Male female has nothing to do with it. It's simply skill and training and all that, which is fucking awesome. To be able to see a truly level playing field is fantastic.
And the other thing to keep in mind too is so females are obviously very different, and their minds work differently and all that stuff, which it's just different. It's fine. It is what it is. They just have to train different.
Sure.
And coaching Jeannie too, that's what we had to figure out was she can't necessarily think like me.
Sure.
Because she's a female. She doesn't think like a man. Like it's not one better than the other. And that's where everyone takes all this crap nowadays. Everyone just wants to get offended, and different doesn't mean better or worse.
Right.
It's just different.
That's the biggest
you have to
thing
figure
too.
Out how to work your way around that. And
well,
you guys have done a pretty good job of it, though.
For as long as I've been in skydiving, I have not just taken lessons from, but looked up to women in the sport because, quite frankly, there's ridiculously amazing female skydivers in every discipline that can just wipe the floor with me. And I suppose I've always looked at it that way, in that I never saw a difference between male and female when it came to jumping, because fuck me, there's nothing they can't do.
Yeah. And one of the things, I mean, Jeannie's been on a lot of boards and stuff, and she was on the USPA was trying to figure out what to do with records and transgender people, especially. Sure. Which that's not where I'm taking this, but she was just on a board talking about the whole difference between males and females. And the biggest thing the board figured out was swooping is so different because the female competitors that compete in free fall and stuff, they don't have to worry about getting as injured as we do, and even just literally going in, they have to worry about getting hit, and they've got knocked out or taken a knee to the temple and got concussions in free fall during training and competing and stuff. But it's not the same level that swooping is intense. Sure. To roll out that tight and that low, I mean, to do well in a comp, I mean, half the I'm still pretty damn close to being like almost scared every time I snap, because you're just so tight and you're so low, and that's how you get the power. Sure. And that was the biggest thing between the different, not even necessarily between males and females, of course, but just the different competitions. Sure. Was swooping is so much more intense, where the other, the four-way people, they actually sat back and like, oh yeah, I never thought of that. Like, I don't have to worry about dying while I'm competing, and you guys kind of do. Yeah.
Well, I mean, how many of our friends have gotten hurt, or how many of our friends have died from swoop injuries? How many times have you hit the ground hard? I know I've done it a couple times coming up through the years, and it's just one of those things. It's we know and we expect for that to possibly happen, and we try to do the best we can to push hard and not have it happen.
Well, in regard to any discipline in skydiving, there's no discipline in skydiving that's closer to that razor's edge. There's especially with the canopies that are flying now and the way that you guys are flying them, there's next to zero room for error. There really isn't. I mean, yeah, you can fuck up a run this way or that way, but when it comes to, coming out of your turn when you need to plane out when you need to, you've got next to no room. We're talking milliseconds. And
Yeah.
You know, I mean, those milliseconds on an 8-way or a 4-way or a free fly is the difference between a point and not getting that point, not a difference between a hospital stay or a podium.
Yeah.
You know, that's the big difference.
Yeah, me and Jeannie are really annoying to our container sponsors. Just giving Sunpath a shout out for dealing with us because we're so unbelievably picky with how everything fits and especially our risers and that kind of stuff, because you take that comfort away and your confidence is gone.
Oh yeah. To at the level that you're at, to throw gear fear into it is suicide. Well,
I mean, not even just the fear, just like, hey, this doesn't feel that comfortable. So it's like, it's distracting when I roll out. And, you know, I don't really like how these risers are working because they're a little long, or, you know, I just don't like the front dive loops or whatever.
Sure.
Like at the FLCPA before nationals, I was dealing with a really bad shoulder injury. I redislocated my shoulder again this summer. And I had to sit out Pink Open just to be fit enough because I could not function. And I still only had 3 weeks to recover in between. And I almost cut the tip of my finger off right the day before that FLCPA. So now I'd spent the whole week trying to learn how to fly around my shoulder problems. Then you throw this in with no training, my finger and my grip. And I ended up getting a 0 because I went and snapped on a distance run. And, you know, we had done our Zonac in the morning, and then we would switch to distance. And I think it was the second round. I was just a little bit tighter and low, you know, but normal for me. But I was so uncomfortable when I snapped because my whole right arm just wasn't working properly.
Sure.
I went straight to toggles.
Oof.
Like I just like almost before I even finished the rotation, you know, with 30 degrees left, I just went straight to toggles because I just felt so uncomfortable and out of control that I'm like, dude, I can't handle this. I went to toggles. A half a second after I finished the turn, I'm like, I didn't need to do that, you know, like I was fine, but you just take that comfort away and you just lose all your confidence.
Sure.
As somebody who's known you for like 12 to 13 years, would you please just stop hurting yourself, for Christ's sake?
No, it's how I did it.
I like that. No, fuck you. I'm not going to stop hurting myself.
Trust me, I wish I could, but
no,
it's
your process.
Kind of just part of pushing. You know?
It's your
Listen,
process.
I know how I feel at 41. Dean knows how he feels now at the big 5-0. When you get up towards our age, man, everything hurts more. Just ease up just a little bit.
Why you got to out me like that?
I mean, you're an old man.
Fuck off, man. Why you got to out me like that? Like, people need to know how old I am. Fuck off.
Bro, so I've already come to the realization where I'm gonna need to work out like a monster my entire life, or I'm gonna be in a lot of pain.
Yep. Oh yeah. No.
That does make a difference.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, that's the right decision, because I'm at that age, and the only reason I'm not in pain is because I've worked out my whole fucking life.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I'm not in daily agony, is because I kept at it. You know, overcoming injuries not nearly as cool as yours, for sure. Now. Well, and I mean, like, after, you know, for the past 3 seasons, this shoulder injury I keep getting re-injured in a different way, just because my shoulder's compromised. But like, because I have to physio so much just to be able to jump, like the last 3 winters, I've gotten in the best shape of my life. Sure. And I kept pushing it up. And then I get injured and it goes backwards pretty hard. Yeah.
But,
oh yeah.
I mean, dude, stuff stopped hurting. One of the most painful years of competing was 2013, and I was 25 years old. It had nothing to do with age. I was the most out of shape because I was kind of riding that college track shape for too long and not working out hard enough. And then I got hurt that year a lot. And because I got hurt, I couldn't even do as much as the little that I was. And I got super heavy, wearing very little of my weight belt. And because there's rules on that. And then, you know, everything hurt.
Sure.
You know, distance training hurt even when I was landing properly, and just everything hurt. I was 25 years old. Yeah. That's bad.
Oh yeah. You know, it's funny how quick your body will tell you, all right, keep on this path, and this is what you got waiting for you. It's really quick with that. I go more than a week with a decent workout regimen, and everything starts to hurt, and getting out of bed just fucking sucks. So you learn just out of necessity. All right, I'd rather hurt in the gym than hurt in the morning, It's just that simple. And especially when you're still pushing at the level that you're pushing, those little aches and pains can, again, mean the difference between podiums and hospital rooms.
Exactly. And I hear so many motorcycle racers talk about like their worst fear is losing a race because of their fitness level.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. Like, that's my thing too, is like, I don't want to lose a comp because I'm not fit enough. And I mean, that could even just be, I mean, you know, it's mentally fatiguing having that much adrenaline all the time in training.
Sure.
Like that's a thing. I forget exactly what they call it. It's adrenaline deprivation, I think, or something. Like, it's a legitimate thing. It doesn't matter how good in shape you are. Like, that stuff takes a mental toll.
Oh yeah.
So if you're not in good shape, like you roll into a meet not only physically tired but mentally tired, and you're gonna get hurt. Let alone do that.
Yeah, it's not even a matter of winning or losing at that point. You're gonna fuck yourself up. And if it's not this competition, it's gonna be the next one for sure. Yeah, no, fitness.
And dude, having to physio my back this hard for my shoulder, like, I've always had the worst posture, always hunched over no matter what. Like, I would have to really focus, and I would be like, dude, I'm physically using muscles to stand up straight. This is ridiculous. Like, if I wanted good posture, having to physio my back this hard, like, I have good posture now. I stand up straight. Like, people comment to me if they haven't seen me for a while. They're like, and this started like a year and a half ago. They're like, man, you look different. I'm like, yeah, dude, it's my posture.
Dude, now meanwhile,
I noticed it
meanwhile,
pretty quick.
I'm sitting in the booth right now watching Junior sitting up straighter than he's sat up in front of me ever.
As you're saying it, I'm just sitting up straight. I'm like,
I work out. What do you mean?
It's fucking hilarious. He literally just...
I don't work out nearly enough as I should.
He just slowly came from this caved over position to shoulders back, chest out, gut in, slowly.
And immediately I was like, wow. I feel a little bit better after that.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking funny, man. That was good.
Dude, we bought a house 2 years ago, and I had a bunch of workout equipment in my house anyways, but the house we bought had this random fourth bedroom that was 15 by 19 square feet, which is huge for a random fourth bedroom. And as soon as we walked into that room, I looked at Gina, I'm like, we're buying this house. Like, this is my gym.
Nice.
And me and my dad put, 3/4 inch rubber flooring on the bottom. There's 2 full walls that are mirrors. I have an entire gym at my house.
Nice.
The only thing I don't have is a leg press machine, which I don't really need because I'm better off doing squats for the stability muscles anyways.
Yeah. And if anybody wants to see those photos, they can go to Curt's Instagram. He puts them up every once in a while.
Yeah. Well, I don't do that shit where I post pictures of me in my gym. It's usually just my gym.
Cool. Yeah. Fair enough. So tell me now, what's next for you? What's next for Alter Ego? What's the next big step? You just took over the FLCP, which is a big fucking deal. Any other things on the horizon we want to know about?
I mean, nothing major. We're sticking with just a 4-person team, keeping it a bit smaller. Ryan Brownlow's still on the team. He's been on the team since 2011.
Fucking love Ryan.
He's kind of, he's awesome, man. He's been on the team for a really long time. He's not as active as he used to be just because he had a kid.
Sure.
But he's still doing the big meets, so that's awesome. So now it's me, Jeannie, and Alex Hart. He's kind of, the new kid on the block. Cool. He's like 25 with like 8,000 jumps and stuff. He might have turned 26 now. I can't remember, but I think he's 25. He's got a lot of jumps, and, working with him is kind of, we combined forces, and that's where the Alter Ego Fast Tracks comes with.
Awesome.
Because he was the only one on the Fast Tracks kind of swoop team.
Sure.
So we called him and spoke to them about working with him and becoming teammates. And obviously, they weren't willing to. Fast Tracks wasn't willing to let go because of Alex, because his dad, owns that team. And we obviously didn't want to lose what we've worked like 8 or 9 years for at the time. So it was like, cool, we can just combine forces and work from there.
Sure.
So yeah, we want to build the FLCPA up and kind of keep that going.
Nice.
And
so where do people go now? I'm a new jumper. I want canopy coaching. I'm a wannabe competitive swooper. Where do I go for that? How do they find out about the swoop league? Where's the good way to track you and everything that's going on?
So The best way is the website is actual swoopleague.com
Awesome.
for the FLCPA.
Awesome.
You know, it's actually named that because it used to have all the different swoop leagues on it. Like there used to be some European stuff and like the DISL out in Dubai.
Yep.
And Albert would put some info up about that and all it has all the results basically from almost every comp every year. That's kind of trailed off a little bit just with how busy Albert got. And this year our new website didn't get put up as fast as we wanted. So we kind of didn't have that kind of stuff, but you can find out a lot of information on that. And we're going to try to keep that going and keep that as big as it was. Cool. And then obviously the Facebook page is, you know,
sure.
For the FLCPA is going to have all that info as well. And that's one of the best places to go. Like, that's why I stayed in Florida. Like, yeah, I liked Florida. But the reason I decided to stay there was for the FLCPA.
Nice.
Because Jay Maletsky gave me a lot of good advice when I was a young skydiver. And if Jay Maletsky tells you to do something, you fucking do it.
You listen, like, for sure.
You don't even like, you almost don't even question it unless you just want more info about what he just said.
I mean, he's
don't even
OG.
think about
he's
it. Just say, yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right.
And fucking go do it. And he told me, he's like, go to as many comps as you can. He's like, don't let money stop you from going to comps. He's like, sell stuff you don't need. He's like, find a way to get there. If you're allowed to go compete at a comp, he's like, go do it.
Nice.
You know, and I still do that to this day. So a lot of people ask me, like, why do you still do the FLCPA? You know, a lot of those guys stopped doing it once they got to a certain level. And I think it was more also, you know, they were getting older too and didn't want to beat themselves up too much. But I want to compete as much as I can. Like, I love competing. That's my favorite thing to do. It just challenges your mind and your body so much in different conditions. And that's one of the reasons why I did kind of like the fact that I could take over the FLCPA, because that's a whole different challenge. Trying to run the meet and compete at the same level that I was.
Yeah, man.
And be able to go out and throw down and throw up at least state records or national records if we have the conditions while I'm running the meet. That's a whole other challenge.
Yeah, man. That's a lot of irons in the fire.
Yeah. And like, obviously I still did really well. I won all 4 of the first meets. The only reason I couldn't even put a effort in the last one was because of some serious injuries. So it was nice. It's a great place to start. And we're making some rule changes next year because now there's 3 classes. There's the beginner, the intermediate, and the pro class.
Cool.
So we're making some changes in the beginner because that was such a great idea. And then like it started out really well, and then people kind of took advantage of some slack rules and just kind of, you know, you used to get made fun of if you showed up with a Valkyrie like 71, 75 in the beginner class. Like, hey bro, what are you doing in the beginner class? Like stop sandbagging. You get made fun of so much that you would almost be forced to switch. Now that's not happening so much. People are showing up to their first competition ever with 3,000 jumps on a 71 Valkyrie. And it's just like, dude, what are you doing? That's not what the beginner class is for.
Right.
Like, you belong in the intermediate class. That's what the intermediate class was for.
Right.
You know, my first year of competing, we competed together. We just had a handicap.
Sure.
And it was, you know, a handicap / safety buffer. Instead of 5-foot gates, it was 10-foot. But we got scored together.
And that's the way it was
like
back in the CPC as well.
won.
The CPC was the same exact way.
Exactly. So then Albert split it because, you know, just the level of, we started seeing people getting crazy scores and crazy times with the compared to the pros. Even the year that I won, we were already starting to do it. You know, we were putting down too good of scores compared to the pros. That's why, like, that third comp I won, I beat all the pros too. And it was because of that handicap.
Sure.
The level was getting too high, so it got split.
Sure.
But then it was also less intense because people didn't want to show up till they thought they could win because I have to compete against pros.
Right.
And then the intermediate class got rid of that. And then people were doing it. They weren't joining as early as they could because the intermediate class was so strong. So now there's a beginner class.
Sure. Which is
so
awesome.
Next year, you're not going to be able to fly any of the Valkyries, Leias, Airwolves in it. You know, you got to fly the more square wings, the Velos, the JFXs, the JVXs. But it's because we're trying to get out even Saber 2s and Katanas.
Sure.
You know? We love seeing the guys on Katana's doing 90s, you know, or Saber 2's doing 270s or whatever. Like, we love seeing that. When those guys come out, like, they get the most help, you know, because one of the best things about the FLCPA, the reason I love it so much is everyone helps everybody. All the pros, even though it's a comp, they take the time to help the new guys and give them free coaching during the comp.
Well, and that's something that I've actually always heard about the swooping portion of skydiving, regardless, is that it's very much heavy on camaraderie and heavy on helping someone, whether you're competing against them or not just because you want to see them do well as a friend, but because you want to help keep them safe. So it's this extra bit of help that you can give someone because the stakes can be so high, which is fucking awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, which is awesome. Now,
and
what's
the big meets, you know, some of that, like, everyone kind of gets in their own mind and has to focus on themselves. So the bigger meets, that doesn't happen a lot, you know, as much.
Sure.
It's just more amongst like super close friends, because that's all anybody can really give.
Right.
Because the meet is taking so much from them.
Right.
Because, I mean, even for me still, you know, a U.S. Nationals will still feel like a world championship, even if the flying isn't quite as high of a level, just because of what's at stake. You screw up, you don't even go.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's you're not even talking about the level of flying. You're just talking about the stakes. So mentally, it's crazy. But the FLCPA in the middle of the comp is when the new guys need probably the most help. Right. You know, because it's so intense and you get so much out of it, and that's why I love the FLCPA so much. And
for sure,
you know, our team started getting as involved as we could as early on. I was always being the lead coach, not training all day Friday, to stand at their pond and give every single person coaching on every single landing. Just helping people during the meets. We started, especially when all the class splitting, and then they brought out wing loading rules just to keep people from overdoing it in the wing loading compared to their experience level. Sure. Because we started seeing that even happen with pros at big meets. There was some really bad accidents and even a couple of fatalities. Yep. So that's more for a safety thing, to keep people to check in what they're doing, you know. Sure. It keeps it safe, but a level playing field, which is great. Yeah. Because that's what it's all about. And so we started. That's a lot of medals for the league and stuff, and awards for the league to pay for. Sure. And going home with a medal, even if it's a little rinky-dink, you know, pretty cheap-looking medal, it's still something physical to show how much hard work you put into it.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's the medals. Well, just being in the competition in general is badass for any jumper to be able to go out and say, "Hey, I was in this competition." It doesn't matter if you came in dead last, but like, I competed in the '98 Nationals for sky surfing, and I'm a silver medal out of 2 teams that competed.
Yeah,
that silver medal is cool. That silver medal is hanging right fucking next to me now, because I competed in the U.S. Nationals in an open class. I've got a silver medal. So
yeah, and that's badass.
Yeah, absolutely. The beginning of the CPC and the beginning of the FLCPA, there were no medals. It was either a cash prize or thanks for coming out. Like, if you were lucky, you got your money back for the competition and you went home. Yeah. So it's nice to see the progression through the years.
Money. Like, you spend money. Like, you spend it without thinking about it.
Sure.
And it's like, there's been comps where I've gone to and people hand me thousands of dollars and we don't even get a medal. Or like the DISL used to give you like a giant check too. Right. Like, that's about as good. My giant check from the DISL.
It's fucking cool.
I lost one in an airport because I'm an idiot, but all the rest of them are down in my trophy room, you know?
Yeah, it's fucking cool.
Yep. I lost mine from the first swoop, from the first swoop challenge, and the same thing. I was like, oh man, I wish I had that.
Yeah. So, and the year I won, I couldn't get it home because it was so big. So I don't have that one either, and that's a bummer. But
I think that's what happened with mine.
So what comes next for Ultra Ego? Is it just continuing on the normal competitions and the instruction?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we just want to keep. We're already spread. I don't want to say thin, but we're already doing a lot, you know. So we want to just keep doing what we're doing and even better.
Sure.
We got into mountain flying a handful of years ago. And we did it with this guy, Jan Einer, out in Norway. He's awesome. He's a really close friend of ours. He's a freaking Viking ninja. Trains all the special forces out there and stuff. But I mean, he speed flies, base jumps, mountain flies on a regular basis at his drop zone. That he runs the drop zone out there.
Nice.
He taught us so much about mountain flying and the weather. because I'm sketched out when I go fly down mountains with people that
Sure.
don't know a whole lot about the weather's completely different.
Absolutely.
Completely different. And I've done mountain stuff where you just solely relying on the leader, and then you start asking the leader questions, trying to learn, and they kind of just go send it, and you're just like, dude, like this is serious. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I've gone down sections of mountain where there's serious downdrafts, and you're just getting pushed at the mountain, but we knew it was going to be there, and you can't tell on the video it was there, but you're hitting your rears to compensate, and you're only 15 feet off the deck in a dive at the mountain when you feel it. But we were briefed on it, so we knew we could do it. And if somebody goes and does that with you and you're not expecting it, man, you're going to hit real quick.
Oh yeah, no,
But
I've got more
There's
than
something to be said for mentors in the sport, no matter what they are, and for us to be at the level that we're at and to have that kind of mentorship. And the same thing when I was out in Norway with our team back in 2015, like to get that knowledge is amazing.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what you've accomplished in anything in skydiving. Like nobody should ever feel like they're above continuing to learn. And I don't care if the dude has 500 jumps. Shut up and listen to what he has to say, because he learned it from somebody else.
Well, I mean, the bottom line is the overall theme of this podcast has been that there's two walkaway points that come up in pretty much every podcast. One is the community is fucking amazing, and that's probably what keeps most of us in the sport for as long as we are. And two, you never stop learning. Ever.
Yeah.
If you've stopped learning, it's time to fucking take up golf, because that's when you're going to get yourself hurt. That's when you're going to get yourself killed. You're always learning, and somebody always knows more than you. And I've said it before in many of the podcasts that I've done. It's nice knowing that I'm an average, middle of the road skydiver, free flyer, swooper, tandem instructor, all the way down the line, because I always know I have something to learn, and I never walk away thinking, oh yeah, I got this, because I'm always making sure, that I've got it. It's an extremely important thing. So especially when you're pushing the limits and doing mountain flying and all that kind of stuff, it's a big fucking deal. It really is. Now, and
even just with swooping too. I mean, I think one of the rays I've kind of gotten away with any like completely serious gnarly injuries, knock on wood, but it's always because I've never gotten overconfident with it. I mean, if you see me on a regular jump, on any jump, even a competition jump, how many times I do gear checks in the plane?
Sure.
Like, dude, complacency is what fucks everyone up.
Oh, absolutely. Well,
and it's like, I never lose sight of how easy it is, no matter how good you are at swooping, how many accolades you have, whatever it is, like, all it takes is one stupid mistake and me not being on my game and paying attention, or just being distracted by something that happened at home, or something somebody said while I'm swooping. And blah, blah, blah.
Or you telling somebody not to have a cutaway right before you exit the airplane.
Yeah, man, exactly.
So as we get towards the end, and especially because we've kind of hit this topic, one of the things that I always ask my guests towards the end of the podcast is, for newer jumpers or for jumpers that have kind of hit the wall and they're wondering why they're still in the sport, what advice do you have to those two categories?
I would just say find the correct people to listen to keep progressing. Normally, if you hit a wall or you're getting bored, it's either you're not challenging yourself, or go try something new. It's so easy to get stuck in a rut. I mean, it happens even with swooping, with competition training. Like you're going and doing the same thing so much, like you can get frustrated, or just like the fire can leave. So go out and do something different. Even if it's swooping, just go out and don't stop competition training.
Nice.
Just go swoop the pond for a while. If you're a free flyer and you're getting bored, go try something else.
Sure.
Go put a wingsuit on, or go do some high pulls on your canopy. Go learn something different and find the right people to listen to, because some people can lead you pretty far astray with how you need to learn, or just with the attitude. Like, it's all about attitude, right?
Sure.
That's a good point. Find the right person to listen to is a really good point to make.
Yeah, because somebody with the wrong attitude, they'll blow too much smoke up your butt, and you'll get this weird, arrogant thing where you think you're way better than you are, and there's not much else to learn. There's always a lot more to learn.
Sure. And
just try something else, like us branching off into running leagues, doing mountain flying. Like, part of the mountain flying is we started running a boogie with them as well. We do specialized coaching, and we go out and do a prop 3 days of a project, a weekend of coaching, and we get newer jumpers into mountain flying safely.
Nice.
They might not be anywhere near the mountain because they only have 150 jumps, but they'll go jump kind of near them and land off in a small landing area.
Sure.
And like, find the people that are doing it correctly. We're giving them specialized coaching. We're putting people up that know the weather. We're giving them a good leader, not a leader who doesn't really know. Like, I've been with leaders that can't really spot well, and they're leading people down a mountain, and that's like to me, that's a huge red flag.
Yeah.
So, you got to find the right people to listen to.
Sure.
It's the biggest thing for me. I've been so lucky to pick that out on my own.
Sure.
My whole career. And it really worked.
Yeah, no,
really well.
I completely agree. Well, and in all points, definitely trying to mix it up for the jumpers that are getting a little bit stale and try something new. And for the newer jumpers, of course, finding the right mentors and picking that path and listening to everybody and then figuring out on your own, of course, who's full of shit and who's aiming you in the right direction, who's, steering you the wrong way and who's really going to benefit. I mean, that's a big deal. And that's part of the community as well. And one of the reasons that I'm still such a huge fan of the sport and skydivers in general is, for the most part, people try and help, aim you in that direction, which is fucking epic. It really is.
Yeah. And on those lines as well, one of the big pieces of that is always ask, if you get taught something, always ask why. Yeah. Right? You need to know, you're not being a wise ass. I was that annoying student that you have to explain everything to me. Not because I didn't understand it. I understood what you said. But I need to know the why, so that I can fully grasp the concept and actually utilize it. If you don't know the why, you can't put it into practice.
Sure. No,
you just know the information.
Completely agree.
And if somebody can't explain why, two things are happening. Either they're telling you the right information, they just don't know the backstory, which means they're probably not utilizing it, or it's actually wrong information.
Right.
Because if you can't explain why, there's a pretty solid chance that it's actually very, very wrong, because there's still a lot of misinformation flying around in skydiving.
Oh, sure.
Or at least even just better techniques. And of course, you're going to be able to explain why you do a bad technique as well, but it's at least going to help. And if they can't explain why, don't just throw it out the window and assume that it's crap. Find somebody who can explain why.
Right.
Because if it's crap information, the person that can explain why will tell you the correct information and explain why that's right.
Yeah, absolutely. Just get as much as you can, for sure. I completely agree. Now, on the subject of alter ego, how do people track you guys social media wise? Where are you on Facebook, on Instagram, on all that stuff?
Oh man, we have everything but Twitter basically. Yeah, we're on Instagram. Social media are the big two ones. And then our website as well, which is thealteregoproject.com.
Okay.
And then of course me and Jeannie have our personal pages. On Facebook, we have our athlete pages. And then we have the team page, the Alter Ego Project coaching canopy school page. We have the FLCPA pages for every single one of those.
Awesome.
So any one of those outlets, there's a contact form for the FLCPA website and for Alter Ego. That goes to me and Jeannie. So any one of those we check all the time.
Awesome. Awesome. And for anybody that's listening to the podcast, you will find links to all the different ways to get a hold of both the FLCPA as well as Alter Ego, so that you can track everything that's going on. Keep an eye on competitions. Keep an eye on whether you want to compete, whether you want to learn, the whole 9 yards. And I'll tell you what, Curt, I cannot thank you enough for taking the time to sit down and talk to me. I guarantee this podcast is going to be one of the ones people are definitely going to want to listen into. Really fucking cool stuff.
Cool, man. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man.
You caught me at the right times. I'm not jumping for the next 5 weeks.
Perfect. Perfect.
Buddy, it was really good talking to you. I can't wait to see you again. I'm sure at competition at some point we'll run into each other.
Hell yeah, man.
We do it all the time. So
all right, well, perfect. I mean,
the best of the wife, and can't wait to see you guys.
To Curt on the line.
Yeah, same here.
To Curt on the line and to Junior sitting here, gentlemen, thank you so much for the time, man. It's been fucking fantastic. Take it easy. Well, there you have it. Another episode of the Lunatic Fringe podcast, brought to you as always by, well, wait, not as always, actually. Brought to you now by Gyro. Formerly known as NZ Aerosports, you'll head to gyro.com for their next level line of canopies. By Pussfoot, the Extreme Sports Collective. head over to pussfoot.com to check it out. By Summit Parachute Systems, check out summitparachutesystems.com to talk to Jarrett Martin and the gang about kick-ass pilot rigs, rigging courses, and more. By Flyaway Indoor Skydiving, go to flyawaytn.com and check out all the cutting-edge stuff to come. By Pure Spectrum CBD, head to purespectrumcbd.com to check out their wide range of CBD products. And as for us, head to the lunaticfringepodcast.com to listen to any of the hundreds of episodes currently available, hit the link for our YouTube channel, pick up your copy of the Lunatic Fringe book or The Accidental Stripper, and get a sneak peek at upcoming guests. Once again, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.